Why, hello there, fellow pioneers. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Farthest Frontier, Episode 2, In-Depth Farming. Alright, so I did mention that the other bottlenecks that I have, now that I have the storehouse, is to get the sawmill. Or the saw pit. The saw pit, as you can see, is not a desirable building to live near. So don't put it near your houses. It will deeply upset the people that live in those houses. So I'm going to put the saw pit up here. Saw pits give you wood planks, and you need a lot of wood planks. So it's very helpful for the saw pit to be as close to the stockyard that stocks wood planks and raw logs, so that there's a very short commute time so that you maximize your amount of time sawing and minimize your amount of time traveling. And speaking of which, I'm going to do the same with the berry bushes, getting them out of the way so that they don't get roads built on them, and also clustering them all together so that they're efficient and easy to harvest from. And there's a lot of blueberries over here that I can do that with. I was holding off until we had all the other need to have construction projects done, and also the wolves cleared, because it wouldn't otherwise be safe for my villagers to go wandering off into the woods when there's wolves in there to collect berries, or you'll end up like Little Red Riding Hood hoping for a lumberjack to save your life. So we managed to till about a quarter of this crop field this season so far. It's good progress. I know it doesn't sound like much, but it was a lot of work. Some of the bushes are being relocated where there are trees, so the trees are going to have to get cut down first. That's fine, because I need wood, so it all works out. And putting it pretty much next to the gatherer's hut minimizes the travel time for the gatherer, meaning that they spend more time just gathering berries and less time traveling to the bushes. It's a lot of initial labor to move the bushes, of course, but then once the bushes are in place, it pays for itself. As you can see, my food stores are looking pretty good. We have over a year of food stockpiled now. Granted, some of it's going to rot and decay, but that's life pre-refrigeration. The constant predator attacking notifications is just like, I got a little bit too close to boars, and they false charged, and then they run off. They're wusses, and you can ignore them most of the time. I'm just encroaching on their territory, and they're getting pissy. That's all. And moving these berry bushes is really going to piss them off, but that's fine. We'll hunt them. That's what we're going to do anyway. It's only when the predators are attacking notification doesn't go away that you have to worry about it, because then it's like, oh, no, they're committed, and they're coming to chomp, or gore you, I guess. You'll end up like a Baratheon. Oops, spoiler. Sorry. A spoiler from like a decade ago. There are still some more like blueberry bushes around, I guess. I can keep moving them. I'm going to actually, it's inefficient, but I'm going to move the blueberry bushes way, way, way east all the way to the west one, just to balance it out a little bit more. Because the other thing is, like, you have a finite amount of labor for the gatherers, right? Only one gatherer is employed, so that you don't want to put so many blueberry bushes on one gatherer that they can't actually possibly gather all the berries in time. So there might actually be too many blueberry bushes on the eastern one, but that's fine. I'll add another one if I need to. Unable to work. All right, now that we're collecting wood planks allows me to build the market. So you can see the yellow circle of the market. You're going to want to include as many of the houses in this yellow circle as possible. And with your initial houses, probably have it be on the edge. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to set this up so that I'll probably put it here. I'm trying to set it up so that the entire radius of the market can basically just be all houses. You can build multiple markets, but each market will have to have people working in it. And it's going to make a lot more sense to have one market for all of your initial houses. And then if you need houses for people that work far away, there's a concept called temporary houses. A temporary shelter is not really a shelter. It's kind of like a food station. It's like for people to get water and food and like hide from attackers or something like that. And that's really useful if you have far-flung work camps. So an example of that, I'll get around to building it later on, but an example of that would be like if I wanted to mine this iron ore down here, it's a very long walk for people to walk from their homes to the iron ore. So if they get hungry while they work, they would have to walk all the way back to get food. But if I put a temporary shelter next to the iron ore, they can just dip into the temporary shelter, get food, and then leave. All right, you say you're unable to work because there's no work, so I'm going to have him explore a little bit. And the farm field is... oh, it's coming together. Some more blueberry bushes. What I'm really looking for at this point is clay. I'm hoping that there are clay nodes within reasonable distance. When you build really... oh, here's a sand pit. When you build really, really, really far away from your town hub, the road is very treacherous and will be frequented by wolves and bears, and the people that work out in those areas will die traveling. So you really, really, really don't want to have, unless you have a patrol people, you don't want to have work camps like way out in the middle of nowhere until you have guard towers and walls and other ways to protect your people. How hungry are you? You're okay. And I'm doing this manually. There is this explore flag down here where you can have them explore automatically. But the reason I'm doing it manually is the automatic explore flag, if I just like hit E and clicked it down, a random laborer will be selected from your labor pool to go explore, but if they'll like happily walk into wolves or bears, they're not considered about where they go. So that's why I'm doing this manually. So there's a high yield fishing pond to the southeast. It's way too far from my town center. But here's a clay deposit, and it has 10,000 clay, so that's a lot of clay. So it might be worth setting up a temporary camp out this way for the clay and the fish and the gold ore. Requiem, thank you for the resub. There's also a shoal of fish on this pond as well. The shoal of fish, what it does is it boosts the fishing yield that you get from that body of water when the shoal is worked by a fisherman. And I'll probably set up a fishing shack soon to show you that, because it would be nice to supplement my people with fish as well. Oh, here's another clay deposit with 5k clay. If you can pick between living near clay and living near sand, pick clay, probably. Because glass is really nice, but you can buy... oh, here we go. This is really convenient. That's a lot closer to home. Because you can buy sand. Well, you can buy clay too, but you're just going to need a whole lot more clay. So there's also some dough out here, so there's probably... Yep, there it is, deer sighted. If I wanted to hunt all the way out there. Some coal. Coal's useful when you want to make iron and gold ingots. And more clay. I like this biome, this random map. It's treating me pretty good so far. Alright, Oak. You return back to town. That was some good investigative findings that you did. Alright, another thing that I haven't yet done is harvest trees. So I'm just going to harvest all the trees roughly where the houses are going to go. Because I'm going to want to clear those trees anyway. And I'm also going to include stone in that too. So any stones that are in here, I'm also going to gather. And then let's go ahead and put the storage cart basically smack dab in the middle of this forest that we want to clear so that people don't have to travel very far to drop off their wood and stone. Now if that boar keeps making alert noises, I'm going to have to just shoot him myself. So we have 20 arrows left. So another industry that I should get up pretty soon is a Fletcher. So we've got the saw pit here, and I think across the street from the saw pit, I'll put the Fletch. And the Fletcher is obviously responsible for making bows and arrows. He's a Fletcher and a bowyer. Exato, thank you for the sub. Welcome, and cheers. We're also running out of housing. So if we want immigrants and people to have babies, we need additional space for people. So I flattened this area for that purpose, and I'm going to make this a priority because growing the town is a priority. Oh, there's a bear. Hello, bear. So people can hide in their houses. Actually, you know what might be useful is garrisoning the villagers. Because you'll see the automatic arrows. Just like in AoE. Automatic arrows shooting the bear here. And then the bear, once wounded, will run off. Is my hunter around? Yeah, alright. I'm going to have the hunter finish the bear off. I hope. That bear is wounded and trying to run. There it goes. Alright, so let's ungarrison so that people can get back to work. And Yudin is going to chase this bear into the woods. Just don't end up like Leonardo DiCaprio. Alright, that bear rightly pissed off, so never mind. I'm not going to chase it that deep into the woods. Our first crop field is done. So here's how the crop fields work. This is so complicated, but crops are on a 3-year rotation. There is fertility, weed level, and rockiness. You work the fields by removing weeds and rocks initially, and then mostly you're managing fertility. There's other factors as well. So all of the crops, let me just explain one crop, and then I'll try to expand upon that. They have a certain yield. So beans will have a yield of like 6 out of 10, which means that there are crops that are definitely better to grow than beans if you want high yield. They have a frost tolerance and a heat tolerance. So beans hate the frost, will die if you plant them or harvest them around winter. So if you wanted to grow beans, you'd have to grow beans like kind of in the middle of this grow season, because if you grow near their edges, the frost will kill it, right? Then you also have their rockiness resilience. So if the fields are really rocky, you know, are they able to cope with that? And then also whether or not the plant allows for weeds to crop up. Some plants sort of promote weed growth and some don't. Again, rockiness and weeds are very easy to manage. It's the fertility that is really a problem. The grow time, so how long it takes to grow, and then impacts in fertility. It's that second to last bar. That's the really important one. So certain crops like beans and peas will actually increase the fertility of the farm field, meaning that year after year, your yields will get better and better over time. And then there is cover crops, which is clover. Clover impacts fertility a plus 3%, but you can't eat clovers. So when you're planting farm fields, you either want to aim for neutral fertility in a 3-year cycle or positive fertility in a 3-year cycle. Because if you don't, your farm fields will slowly become less fertile over time, and that poor soil management means that eventually your farms are going to be worthless and you're going to have to build new ones. There is a little bit of a boost that you can do to farms, though, periodically, which is over here in the compost yard. You'll have a night soil person collect human waste and compost it. And periodically, once it composts long enough, you can fertilize a farm field with compost. But this won't be able to be used for all of your farm fields. This is just a one-time, maybe once every year or two, once every 3-year type of thing. So you need to manage your soil well. And then depending on your biome and depending on your difficulty, there is also sort of like a number that causes your fertility to go down no matter what. So we have to keep an eye on this because I actually don't know what that number is for this random map. So I'm making numbers up because I don't have them memorized, but on the Arid Highlands, which is one of the hardest to farm maps, every farm will suffer a certain negative fertility every year, meaning it's much, much, much more difficult to have a balanced farm. Whereas on the idyllic pastures and valleys, there is a positive fertility, which means it's a lot more forgiving. So really, really high yield crops like wheat, for instance, has a fertility impact of negative 6%. So for instance, if you plant wheat one year, in order to offset that wheat, you're going to have an entire year of clovers. And then you're going to have another year of maybe peas and clovers. And then there's even more complication. So the additional complication is that the time at which you sow is really important in terms of temperature, but also labor. One of the weird things about this game compared to other games is your farmers, although they're assigned to a field, they actually work in all of the farms. So if you had 10 farm fields and all 10 farm fields had a start sow time of at the top of the season, your labor force is going to be stretched very thin. So when you're setting up a lot of farm fields, multiple farm fields, you want to stagger it like this so that you can have a smaller workforce. And what they'll do is they'll hop from farm field to farm field. So for the first month of the year, they'll farm one field, and in February they farm another, they sow crops for another, and then March they sow crops for a third. So there's a lot of complication for farming. But for this specific farm field, what I'm going to be doing initially is just clearing out the weeds and rock, because we're really not going to get good yield unless we clear out weeds and rock. So I'm just going to add field clearing. And then next year is just going to be a bunch of field clearing as well, because it's super weedy and super rocky, and we might as well just clean it out. And then there's actually one more. There's one more consideration. Is different crops like different soil mixtures of clay and sand. So if you get within the ideal of the soil mixture, you get a 10% bonus yield, which can be a lot, right? And then if you have too much clay or too much sand and you're outside of the range, you lose soil bonus. And then if you're even further, you can have minus 20%, right? And this is a yearly upkeep. So another concept is that you want to be growing things that your farm field is well set up for. So if I take a look here, there might be some crops for instance, rye is not well set up for this farm field. I don't get that bonus. I would need to add sand every year to the farm field to get that 10% crop bonus. Same with buckwheat. Flax is one that particularly likes sand. So if you want to grow flax, you want to find an area of your map that is particularly sandy, because if you want that bonus, you either need to add 30 sand per year to the farm fields, or to just not to get that 10% bonus. So every crop has that sort of soil mixture as well. So again, it's very, very complicated. And as I add more farms, I'll be explaining it better. But first order of business is to just work the farm fields, which is to remove rocks and reduce weed levels. And what you'll see is 5 farmers come over, and they'll be working this farm field by trying to clean up the rocks and the weeds. So the other thing that I'm going to ask you guys to remember is I have a fertility of this farm field of 58. So I want to know if there's a net negative fertility per year of this farm field. So if next year this fertility of this field is like 56%, I know that year to year I lose about 2% fertility due to the biome. Because I picked random biome, I don't know what biome I'm in. I have no idea. This biome kind of looks like lowland lakes, given the amount of lakes that I have, but it has a lot of indicators that it's also alpine, because there's a lot of, well, pine, and then there's rocks, and it's stubble, and it's, so that's something to track, is this fertility level. The weed level and the rock level will plummet because we're working the fields. All right, getting some extra shelters. Yeah, it's a farming game and a city building game, exactly. It's one of the most complex farming systems. I would also say, slinging a little bit of hate on it, it bugs out too. There's a lot of times where, like, your farms fail and it's not your fault and you have no idea what you did. And that's really frustrating. Sometimes your farmers just, like, refuse to sow crops, for instance. And you're like, but why? And the game makes no indicator as to the why. Oh man, I'm getting so many berries. So hopefully I'll be able to avoid that. But yeah, as you can see, the weed level and the rockiness level will go down. And right now, these farmers here, they're unable to work. What that means is that they've just finished for this crop cycle, so they're waiting for the next crop cycle to continue. So that's why you want to stagger on multiple farms your workers, so that you have a smaller number of farmers. Like, if I reduce this, because clearly 5 people did the work in too quick of a time, so let's try with 3 workers instead, to see if 3 workers can get the entire working the field done in the given subset of time. What am I? Oh, the roads. Yep. All right. So for the Fletcher, I'm also going to change its ratio. And I'm going to say make 5 times more arrows than bows. I need more arrows. I don't need a lot of bows. So. And let's also set production limits. So I'm going to say make until we have 5 bows, but not make any more than 10. And then for arrows, I'll say make until we have 100 arrows, but don't make any more than, let's say, 250. That way, I don't have to care about it. I set and forget. All right, market. That's what we wanted. So I probably want to put my market around here. So I'll try to flatten this area out a little bit more. And this is what I was saying is, flattening in this game is labor intensive, and often you have to make multiple passes. So initially populating an area that is as flat as possible is pretty ideal. So here is the weed level, and the rockiness level has gone down from, I think it was 85 to 58 and 31 to 25. It's easier to weed than to remove rocks. And we'll see if these 3 farmers finish before their work allotment is over. The other thing that I might want to consider doing is to fence this off as well. I strategically positioned this forager shack so that I could add a fence to this farm. And that would look something like this. Where you will want to give them access to get to the farm with a gate. So I'll just add the corner of the fence for now. And then what I was planning on doing is having a road go from the forager shack out to storage here. So that it's easier to store. Man, I am making a lot of berries. Those blueberries are yielding like crazy. It's too bad that they spoil so quickly. As you can see, the food just plummeted because I had a bunch spoil. But, you know, that happens. Now that I'm getting some additional immigrants, I am setting more of them up to be builders so that I can build a little bit faster. Okay. I'll put the market there. That leaves enough space to put a road between the market and the houses, this layer of houses. And then I might actually move the houses to be a little bit more efficient and change the layout of the roads. But that's our market site, and this is going to be the priority. I wonder why my builders haven't moved these blueberry bushes. I'll cancel it if they never get around to it. Oh, that's a real bear. I have numbers on my side, buddy. Oh, you're straight up killing Zellin. Run, Zell! Yeah. Get lost, bear. Okay, we are going to need a compost yard. Because these houses are building up waste, and what ends up happening if you don't manage the waste is you encourage rats, and then you need a rat catcher, which is not ideal. The compost yard is a really dirty industry that you don't want anywhere near your housing. So I'm going to set the compost yard. You want it somewhat close to your house, your houses, so that the night soil collector doesn't have to walk too far, but not so close that that it kills the desirability. So I'm trying to mentally think about where I want to put this. I want to put it somewhere around here. All right, that works. And let's prioritize that. Then I'll build a road that connects the farm, the compost yard, and the forager shack, and eventually maybe an iron mine out to the rest of the colony. So rockiness is down to about 20%. Weed level to 33. So next year, I'm going to work the field twice. And I think that will remove pretty much all the rocks and the weeds, and then plant clovers in order to try to gain fertility. Because I don't think, given my current population, I am urgently needing crops yielded from the farm. Not yet. Oh, those blueberry bushes finally got moved. Some of them did. My hunter doesn't seem to be able to find things to shoot, so I'm going to move the circle over to where this boar is. You need me to manually instruct you? Clearly you do. Yeah, you best run. Wow, what a YOLO shot. Impressive. Alright, so that's our compost yard, and we're going to start collecting compost from the shelters that we have. We haven't built the roads yet, because we still have to clear stones and trees out of the way. And then, I am going to delete the fence here, because this is where they're storing crops from their harvest, and put a gate there to access this storage. So I'm still at 58% utility, fertility. I don't know when it recalculates, but I guess we'll see. But we have our market. Cool. So the next milestone, I would say, is to get 30 people to upgrade your town center to a tier 2. So that is the current priority. And 30 people is pretty easy because we're already at 28. I did want to redesign the roads here to be a little better. So that's another thing I'm going to do. So these houses, I'm going to turn around and face the inside road. There's a finite area around a market, so you want to shove as many houses in that finite area as possible, which means this second road is really not needed, and I'm going to get rid of it and have it on the other side. It will make sense when I'm done if you don't understand what I'm going for here. And then these houses... Oh, they're not moved yet. Whoa! Hello, wolf. These houses will then nudge up a cell, and then share a southern road with a new row of houses. I'll even move a well. How you move a well, I have no flippin' idea, because that's not something you can physically do in real life, but luckily this is a video game and I don't need to figure it out. So, move the well, thank you very much. And there's no cost other than labor associated with moving houses like this, so you can move things around. The only, there's only one type of building which I would say don't move, which is the storage buildings, because taking the items that you've stored in those buildings and moving them around is going to be a right pain in the butt. But every other building should be fine. Year 5. What can the population max out to? I don't know. Hundreds? 1,000, maybe? Around 1,000? Something like that. Alright, so they got relocated. The other question I had is this a valid spot for a home? I want to check if it's within the radius of the market or not. If it's not within the radius of the market, I'll relocate it. But we're starting to get gold from taxing the markets. And with that yearly or monthly gold report, we'll be able to afford things like guards or other services. Okay, so it is not within the radius. So let's move it here. Maybe over 1. Either way, I know I'm going to have to clear all this out. So I'll queue this up to be cleared out. So fertility from last year seems to have held at 58%. So for us to hit fertility neutral, it's just a matter of math. Got it. So then the next thing I want to do is to plant peas next year. And then beans. And then clovers. Staggering the grow times so that when I have multiple farms, it's easier to manage. Oh, wow, you're straight up in my home here. Hey, Yuden, I need you up here. Let's actually try to kill this bear. Nope. You didn't get there in time before it started to flee. Alright, don't worry about it. Yuden will chase it off. So some of the other things I'm going to need pretty soon is clothing and shoes, as our clothing and our shoes will wear out over time. And if I don't supply them now, we'll have people get really upset by the lack of them soon. Alright, where did you go? You hunt here. Do I think it's the same bear? I don't know. No idea. Maybe. Alright, that house still out of radius? It is. I'll find the sweet spot eventually. I also said I would fish, so let's get fishing. I'm gonna do a fishing shack, and I want the fishing shack as close to this shoal of fish as possible. But it's saying slope is too steep, so I'm gonna have my builders come out here and try to flatten out the area. And I'm also gonna require, because it's far off away, a temporary shelter. So I probably only want to set up this fishing shack because it's far flung, when I can build a temporary shelter, which means I need a town center tier 2 and a wagon shop. But it's something to be done. Hey, thank you for the raid. Welcome. What were you playing? You were playing... Oh, well, look at that. You were playing State of Decay, or you're a developer for State of Decay 3. That's really cool, and you're playing Timberborn? How are you liking Timberborn? Oh, you come at a weird time. I'm under a different type of raid. So here is a 2 thieves and a brawler attacking my market. And unfortunately, the market is far enough away... Ooh, and my houses are on fire. Far enough away from the town center that it's not going to be useful, but what I can do is I can just tell my individual people here to go kill the raiders good old-fashioned style, which is what I'm going to do. Also, predators? For real? So many bad things that happen at once. Something that I should do is to make another basic well closer to definitely the sawmill, but to everything else, because that sawmill... That saw pit is very, gets set on fire often. Alright, let's go for the brawler first. Get him. And just micromanage to make sure that nobody's dying. Get the thief. So once I have a little bit more tax money, one of the first things I probably want to do is to build a guard tower around the market to prevent thieves and raiders. Because 2 of my villagers now have festering wounds from being stabbed by these raiders, but none of my villagers were killed, no buildings were destroyed, and they stole nothing, and I killed all 3 of them. Like you do. Yeah, I know it's on fire. So when there's a fire, everybody runs to the wells, grabs fire, and douses it the old bucket brigade style. Or tries to. These buildings might burn down because I don't have wells too close, and the buildings are catching each other on fire. Come on, you could do it. If I have to rebuild it, it's fine. It's just... Yeah, alright, fine. Rebuild. It's only 10 wood. I have 170. It's not a big deal. No more saw pit. But a good reminder to build a second well site over on the east to make sure that these facilities, especially the smokehouse, the saw pit, and the firewood splitter, very often get on fire. Whoa, we got a bear. All right, sending Uden down, and then I'm also going to pick some additional people here to help out as well. Maybe not the one with the festering wounds. You stay out of this. Get it. Good shot. Where are you headed to? Oh, he's probably trying to steal food or something. I don't know. I don't know what you're doing. Bear, are you crazy? Alright, everybody got cured from their festering wounds because they did have herbs stockpiled. You all get back to work. Has to be the same bear. We'll name him Yogi. Oh, Uden's killing him. Bye, Yogi. Oh, one more shot. Come on, man. Got him. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Run, Uden, run! There was two of them. I think we're going to be burying Mr. Third Person. I have backup coming, but it's just a bunch of people with pitchforks. I don't know how you're outrunning a bear, but it's legendary, man. Oh! Oh! What's up? I'm rolling deep. Eat arrows, you earth sign loser. Well, hopefully they won't be back, but I'm sure they will. So these guys planted all 776 clovers with the three of them, and they're just like standing around not doing anything. So guess what? You're all fired. I'll hire them next year. All right, Uden, I think you deserve your own name. You are going to be Uden, the bear hunter. Look at the size of his health bar now. Man, just add extra characters and it gets beefier. Not how it works, but I could pretend. Oh, storehouse. Yeah, don't store food. That was dumb. Put it in the root cellar. So we're creeping up close to our 30 people milestone in order to upgrade our town hall. And this house is now covered by the market. Perfect. So I know the limits. Let's smooth this out and add some more houses. And if you take a look, fertility is now up as a result of planting clovers. More fire. Oh, you know how I said the smokehouse likes to catch fire? I put a well across the street. 'Cause, you know, I'm not going to make the same stupid mistake twice. And it's out. Can the market range be expanded? No, but you can build multiples. Where's my well? Oh, it's just like hidden under a fallen tree. You know, I guess this tree is named Timmy because it fell into my well. Can someone chop up Timmy and, you know, burn him in the hearth? This is getting a little weird. Sorry, Timmy. Wendigos is leaking. Obstructed by building. Oh, yeah, true. So then also something else to consider is your shelters will level up once they have 2 food types and a desirability of at least 30, as well as a town center. And I'm working on upgrading the town center. All I need to upgrade the town center is 1 more person to either get born or immigrate. So we're getting pretty close to that. But I should start working towards upgrading the, you know, everything. I'm also going to build a road out this way, which will help people commute to work. And that leaves some extra space here. And in that extra space, I am going to put some decorations. Just pretty garbage that people like to have, you know, so that their homes look nice. I also need to readjust this road because it's not long enough. If I could click. There we go. Building roads are free, it's just labor, so it's not that big of a deal. So we have space for 44, and this will increase as the houses get upgraded because the nicer houses accommodate more people. So we're using all the gold I had left in order to build these garden trail build sites. Oh, and some people are going hungry. Yep, I just had a giant old spoil off. Are my hunters able to find prey? I'm staring at you, staring at a boar, and you don't seem to understand to shoot it. There you go. Fertility did go up, yep. But I planted clovers. I planted clovers which give 3 fertility, so it went from 58 to 61. So that means that in order to be fertility neutral, I just have to do the simple math. There's no biome multiplier that I have to accommodate. Are there natural disasters in the game? Yes, there are blizzards and heat waves and things like that. And can you tame wild animals? No, but you can buy things like cows and to set up pastures to... Because at some point when you're a large city, you're not going to be able to hunt for enough food and tallow for meat and soap and the like. So you'll need pastures in order to accommodate. Well, you're in here having trouble finding game because it says boar sighted. It says there's 3. Oh yeah, they're just off to the east a little bit more. So I'll reposition this circle. There we go. People are upset right now because I don't really have a lot of food, but working on it. And we're also finally planting... Oh, right, workers. Let me change this. I forgot to put them, rehire them. So I'm going to move when the beans are being sown so that we actually get them in the ground in time. So I'll try to sow with 3. I don't think we need all 5. So So we should have farmers coming down here to put some peas in the ground. Peas don't really have good heat tolerance, so I'm a little worried that we harvest them a little too late in the season, but we'll see. Give peas a chance. Thank you for tuning in to Farthest Frontier, which originally streamed live on Twitch, February 14th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my gaming community, Rhadamant.com also has a link to Discord, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. A special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Pathfinders.